Day 7, Part 7, Chapter 2. He who considers himself free is free, and he who considers himself bound is bound. Because in this world the proverb is true, as you think, so you are. This is a significant sutra, a verse. He who considers himself free is free. He who knows that he is free. For freedom, nothing else has to be done. Just to know that you are free is enough. Freedom will not come from your doing. Freedom comes from your knowing. Freedom is not the result of action. It is the fruit of knowing. He who considers himself free is free. And he who considers himself bound is bound. He who thinks I am in chains is in chain. He who thinks I am liberated is liberated. Try it and see. For one day, decide that during these 24 hours, it is true, you are free. Try remaining free for 24 hours. You will be surprised, you won't believe it yourself. If you think you are free, there is no one to enslave you, and you are free. If you think you are enslaved, then everything binds you. I have heard a story where a person's friend, he was a professor with him. During the holy festival, he drank bhang, a hemp drink, a sort of an alcoholic drink, and he created a disturbance in the street. He made a scene. He was a very gentle and simple man. There is a danger in gentle person. Such a person has much repressed within. He was not a troublemaker. Even his name was Bhole Ram, means simple-hearted. He was honest and simple. There is a danger in such a nice man. He should avoid things like alcohol or bhang. The drink washed off his superficially sweet temperament, and all the repression lying beneath, which had been unexpressed in his whole life, came out. He went out in the street and raised an uproar and created trouble. He harassed some woman and was arrested and locked up at the police station. And he was an English professor. At around 2 in the morning, someone came and informed his friend that a friend has been arrested. And he wanted him to go to get him out before morning. Otherwise, it would be a big mess. With difficulty, he got him released just before dawn. He got him out, but he was so upset. Such a nice man. He was so disturbed that everything became impossible. For 3 months, he suffered much. Whenever a policeman appeared on the road, he would hide, thinking he is coming to arrest him. He lived in that one room. If he heard a police whistle at night, he would dive under the bed. He would say they were after him. Eventually, his condition deteriorated so much that he could not sleep, nor would he allow anyone to sleep. He would say, "Wake up, did you hear those people?" There are voices in the air. Those people are sending out messages on the radio, inquiring about me, where I am. And friends would say, please go to sleep. He would reply, how can I go to sleep? My life is in danger. They will arrest me. They are keeping a big file against me. Finally, when friends saw that there is no way out, they stopped going with him. He also stopped going to college. He took a leave and stayed at home. Around the clock, he had this one obsession, becoming what psychologists call paranoid. He created everything out of his fear, his paranoia. He was a good man, and a friend had never thought this could happen. But now he experienced what imagination man is capable of. The walls, he would say, have ears. People are listening everywhere. If he saw anyone walking near the house, then he thought he must be looking for him. If anyone was standing around laughing, he must be laughing at me. If people were talking among themselves, they were conspiring against him. The whole world was against him. As his friend could not see any other way out, there was only one possibility. They had a friend who was a police inspector. They explained him everything and asked him to come one day with Bhola Ram's file. He said, if there were a file on him, I would bring it, but there is no such file, not even a record. This man has never done anything. He took bhang or a drink once and created some sort of scene. The matter is finished. There should not be any fuss about it now. He told him, bring any file, even fill it with blank papers. But it should be thick because he says it is a big file. And remember, it should have his name printed on it. Don't worry about it, just give him 2 or 3 slaps and put him in handcuffs too. Refuse to let him go until I give you some money as a bribe. Then too, only perhaps he should be released. The police came, bringing everything with them. They slapped him 2 or 3 times. And Bhole Ram was very happy to get slapped. He said to them, look, it's happening like I told you it would, or not. Here is the file. Bhole Ram is written in big letters on it. Now tell me, where have all your wise explanation gone now? Now this, I am in handcuffs. I am finished. But in a way he was happy and at the same time miserable. He was crying, but he was happy to see that his projection proved right. Man is so insane. If your projection of suffering proves right, your ego gets satisfied. You are proved right. He felt that everyone else was proved wrong, that all those who were trying to advise him were not right. Finally, he alone proved right. With great difficulty, I pleaded and persecuted the inspector. I had already told him not to agree with what I would say too soon. Otherwise, Bhole Ram would suspect that we were in conspiracy. The inspector said, it cannot be done. It should be sentenced for life. He continued talking like this and then looked at me to see how he was doing. With great difficulty, he finally persuaded him, and with folded hand, he requested him to accept the bundles of bills as a bribe. Then he burned the file in front of us. From that day, Bhole Ram was free of fear. He was okay now. The whole episode ended there. This is your situation, more or less. He who considers himself free is free, and he who considers himself is bound is bound. Because in this world, the proverb is true: as you think, so you are. What happens is what you have thought. Your thinking has created your world. Change your thoughts, wake up, see in a new way. Everything will remain as it is, only your way of seeing, of thinking, of knowing will change. Then everything will change. He who considers himself free is free, and he who considers himself bound is bound. Because in this world, the proverb is true: as you think, so you are. As you think, so you are. Being is the witness, all pervading, perfect, one, free, conscious, free from doing, alone, desireless, peaceful. Because of illusion, it looks like the world. The witness, all pervading, perfect. Listen to these words. Ashtavakra says, you are perfect. You don't need to become perfect. Nothing can be added to you. However, you are complete. You don't need any improvement. You don't have to climb any ladder. There is nothing above you. You are perfect. You are God. All pervading, the witness, one, free consciousness. You are free from doing alone. No one binds you. You have no companion. You are alone. You are in supreme aloneness. You are desireless. You don't have to become all these. This is the difference in Ashtavakra's message. If you listen to other sages, they say you have to become these things. Ashtavakra says you are already are. This is a great difference, not a small difference. Mahavir says you have to be non-attached. You have to be desireless. You have to become desireless. You have to become perfect. You have to become all-pervading. You have to become the witness. Ashtavakra says you are all this. You just have to wake up. You have to open your eyes and see. Ashtavakra's yoga is very natural yoga. As Kabir says, O Sadhu, the natural samadhi is best. I am an individual projected life. Drop this illusion and also the feeling of inner and outer, and awaken in the thought that you are the unchanging, conscious, non-dual being. What you have believed until now are nothing but reflected projection. It is only your belief, your opinion. Moreover, people around you share the same belief. In this way, your opinions are strengthened. Ultimately, man borrows his opinions. You learn from others. Man imitates. All are unhappy here, so you also become unhappy. There was a rare Buddha in Japan, Hotai. As soon as he was enlightened, as soon as he woke up, he began laughing. And he continued laughing his whole life, traveling from one village to another village. In Japan, they called him the Laughing Buddha. He would stand in the middle of marketplace and laugh. And his name spread far and wide. People used to wait for Hotai's arrival. He had no other message than standing in the middle of marketplace and laughing. A crowd would collect and they too would begin laughing. People used to ask him, "Please tell us something more." He would reply, "What more is there to say? You are unnecessarily crying. You need a fool to make you laugh. This is my only message. Laugh. There is nothing missing. Just have a good belly laugh. The whole existence is laughing. You are unnecessarily crying. Your crying is absolutely private. The whole existence is laughing. The moon and the stars, flowers and the birds, all are laughing. You go on crying. Open your eyes and laugh. I have no other message." He laughed and went on wandering from village to village. It is said he made all Japan laugh, and people gradually began to get the glimpses from laughing and laughing with him. It was his meditation, his very samadhi. People began to experience that they could laugh, they could be happy without any cause. The very search for cause is wrong. As long as you look for a reason before you laugh, you will never laugh. If you think you will be happy when there is a reason for it, then you will be never happy. Looking for reason, one becomes more and more unhappy. Cause belongs to suffering. Happiness is your nature. Cause has to be created. Suffering has to be created. Happiness is already present. Just let happiness manifest. This is what Ashtavakra says again and again. Thus wander happily. Beyond sorrow, be happy. Drink this nectar of trust and be happy. Man is perfect. He is one. He is free. His projections are the only barrier. I am an individual projected life. Drop this illusion and also feeling of inner and outer, and awaken in the thought that you are the unchanging, conscious, non-dual Atma. Becoming free of the feeling of outer and inner. Your being neither outside nor inside. Outside and inside are only mind distinction. Being is outside, being is inside. All outside and inside are in being. Only being is. Drop the feeling of inner and outer and awaken in the thought that you are unchanging, conscious, non-dual Atma or being. This translation is not right. The original sutra is, drop the feeling of inner and outer and awaken in the feeling that you are unchanging, conscious, non-dual Atma. Thought is not a correct translation. Awaken in the feeling that you are unchanging Atma or soul. Know that you are. Feel that you are. Awaken to such a feeling. Thought is again becoming intellectual. Thought makes it only superficial. It cannot come from the head. It can only come from the heart. This experience is like love, not like mathematics. It is not like a logic. It is like a song whose singing goes on sinking deeper and deeper and touching the innermost life energy makes it vibrate. Awaken in the feeling that you are the unchanging soul. You are not this revolving wheel of life. You are the pin in the middle. The pin is unmoving. As long as you think you are the earth, you are on the earth. But the moment you are ready, the moment you dare to fly into the sky, that is the very moment you can start flying. Clouds hugging the earth, floating petal upon petal, I fly up beyond the clouds. A marvelous world opens before me. Asleep in some vast dream, I wake up. Where does the ocean of time flies away? Fish aflash in pulsating stream, I had buried in frozen waters of the blind valley. I drown into the foamy twilight, the sun encircled for miles by red rings, rainbows spilling over onto my wings, springs of color bursting here, bursting there, somewhere an unmoving river, somewhere bridges flowing over, stream upon stream, restless, impatient, the earth melting away and flowing into the sky. Village after village of white cement jungle, from whose endless breathing are these trees sprouting. The sky made into another earth, clouds hugging the earth's floating petal upon petal. I fly up beyond the clouds. A marvelous world opened before me. Asleep in some vast dream, I wake up. Wake up. You have seen plenty of dreams. Now wake up. Awakening is the key. Nothing else needs to be done. Not any sadhana, not any yoga, not any yoga postures. Just wake up. Thanks for listening. I will see you next week with one more amazing part of Ashtavakra Gita. Thanks and take care.